There's a real need and a misunderstanding of the cybersecurity world. And people don't really understand that the biggest problem in cybersecurity is you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tamara Michèle. I'm here with Richard Bankert, the CEO of LearnOnlineSecurity.com, and just want to do a bit of an introduction here as we get started and delve into the podcast world. So, Richard, how did you get started in LearnOnlineSecurity.com?
Well, Learn Online Security actually started as we well. So we have a marketing company, and out of the marketing company, we've developed an IT division. And as we were doing our IT work and working through all of that stuff, we realized that there's a real need and a misunderstanding of the cybersecurity world. And people don't really understand that the biggest problem in cybersecurity is you and your behaviors and the way you deal with your own information. And we decided that this was really a topic that needed more voices talking about it. And we wanted to add our voice to the mix and to help just bring education to people to understand that, you can protect yourself against all of these things. It just requires a little bit of education.
Is it fair to say, in the last, say, 2 to 5 years, online activity, we've got artificial intelligence now that has been launched and chat GPT and that sort of thing. How has that impacted kind of where we're going and why there's more threats than there used to be? Why do they have more access to us?
In simple terms, more of our information is available online. So we're just feeding the powers that be all of the information they need to attack us. And so the more information that's available about you, the more that I can target you.
And I guess it's like that in real life too, right? I mean, if you don't want thieves to have access to you, well, then we do things like we keep our wallets in our purse, or if you're traveling, you use money belts, or if you, want to keep your personal information safe, you don't leave it out in plain sight and you lock your doors, those sort of things.
Right. And people are creatures of habit too. So uh, when it comes to social engineering, one thing to think about is that it's always been there. It's not something new. It's a part of everyday life. You social engineer each other all the time. So I learned from my wife that maybe she wants a pair of flip-flops for Christmas, through very distinct hints to say that, hey, this is what I want. She sends me pictures of them, et cetera, using that as an example. And from that, I gather that, oh, this is something that she wants, and maybe I should buy that for Christmas. That's a very simple understanding.
I'm thinking kind of like how as women we like getting flowers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, she's okay with flowers too. But I know from learning from her exactly what type of flower she wants or exactly this or that. So the more time and information that you learn about each other, you can then use that information to, make each other happy and do things for other people that are positive. And on the flip side, you can also use those things for bad. So I can then learn that, oh, she likes these type of flowers. I can get her these type of flowers, and maybe I can get her to take me to the hockey game that I want to go to, or something like that. And based on that information, you can either manipulate each other or use it for good. So in the case of social engineering security, we're looking at how are people using our information to attack us.
So a lot of people, including myself, over the last decade, have done things like purchase maybe online security. Whether it's a VPN or maybe you're getting your Norton security, or buying this sort of thing and getting it put onto your computer. That originally, I think, is we kind of had this false sense of safety, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Any security, I can't, okay, I'm not going to go into the specifics of which security product is better than others. Do I have my opinions? 100%. And we can talk about that more if you want. But uh, when it comes to security products, software, hardware, installing firewares or antivirus and all of that stuff, it has its place and highly recommend it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Uh, the problem is that we look at that as being a pill and being like, oh, I have antivirus. So therefore, I don't have to worry about my online activity at all because of this. In reality, I don't need any technology to social engineer you. I can show up at your house and manipulate you without using a phone or anything. It can happen face to face. And that is what social engineering is about. It's about collecting information, finding habits and behaviors about you, and then using those to get what I want from you.
Okay. I guess moving into where LearnOnlineSecurity.com came from, can you tell me a little bit about yourself as far as what is your background? How did you get started in computers, and why did you want to take this on? Because I understand it's not just you kind of there's an element to it that it's sort of personal for you as far as wanting to help others.
I've always wanted to help others, and especially those who are unable to help themselves. And I feel right now there's everyone's focus, especially on the internet right now, is like, how can I make money? How can I become $1 billion business? How can I become a 6-figure business, become a 7-figure business? And that's where we're focused on. And we're not actually focused on how can I help the most people that I can help. And this is very much a project on how can we help the most people that we can help. And we can't do it alone. We need other people to help us. So my background is I started in web development in 2006. I picked up a book, I learned from textbooks, and I taught myself to code. And am I the best coder out there? No, but I definitely can do it quite effectively. And through that, other people found out that I could do it. We developed a business, and that business has grown to 12 plus people today. And we are still we're still doing that. And out of that, I always wanted to create some digital products. And in looking at the different things that were needed in the world, we definitely felt that this was a mission minded focus that we could focus on. You know, how can we educate people about social engineering so that they can be protected? Just looking at some of the work that other people are doing, like Scammer Payback or some of the guys like that. Uh, really love what they're doing. I can't do what they're doing, but I do know about social engineering because it's a part of websites. It's a big part of forms and emails and all of those things that we've been involved in. And that's mostly what people focus on when they hear about it. They're like, oh, social engineering, that's like phishing scams. So, yeah, I know about that. Phones, emails, whatever. And it's like, well, there's a lot more to it. It includes identity fraud. It's a part of kidnapping. It's a part of human trafficking. It's a part of anything that you come across. This is going to be a part of it.
And then that makes me kind of jump to my next question because I think of like kind of then and now, 5-10 years ago, we didn't have AI or not. We had algorithms, which is basically studying our behavior. I'm very, just very basic knowledge. I mean, I've done a little bit of things, but nothing to the extent that your team has done. And so I'm going to be asking a lot of questions that I'm hoping so that I can kind of catch people that aren't, super tech savvy, but need to learn for people that are just kind of coming on, just maybe explain that a little bit and why now is different with AI.
I think as technology has grown, there's been two things that have happened that I would bookmark. One is the introduction of social media and sharing your life online has expedited the amount of information that's available about you. With cookie tracking and all of those other things that are a part of advertising and marketing, that's a whole other conversation, which we won't dive into in this podcast, but perhaps future ones if people want to hear about it. Um, is advertising social engineering? I don't know if it's technically, but it's a gray line. Um, and the other part of it is AI and the introduction of AI. And so AI, just like any other tool, can be used for good, it can be used for bad, and it has really expedited the ability for people to collect information about you and then use it against you. So, for example, when I was writing an email to someone before, I had to write the entire email. And so we got emails from the Prince of Dubai, and he was offering us 300 million doubloons in exchange for our bank account and things like that. And it was broken English and all of those things now. And so now anyone across the world can enter that information into ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a professional email to this type of person who enjoys soccer and the color blue and all of these other little tidbits about you. And it will spit out a crafted email in somewhat perfect English, better than before, but enough that it will catch people off guard. And that can be done instantaneously. And that's probably the biggest thing, is just the speed at which we can deploy things.
So, Richard, do we have time for one more question?
Absolutely.
So, when it comes to decoding the internet, how we use the internet, you're talking about behavior.
Mhm.
Is that really what you're offering? Is not just the knowledge, but the power of understanding how, when we interact, it comes back and affects us?
Yeah, there's a couple things there. First, it's understanding that everything that I put online goes somewhere. So if I tell people that I like the color blue and that goes online, someone out there now has that knowledge about me. And so this, in the world of advertising, we can grab this really quick. If I go to a store online, we'll call it XYZ just for fun. So store XYZ, I go to their store online and I shop around and take a look. And then I browse the rest of the internet. If we allow them to, they'll install a cookie in our browser. Cookie just tracks us. And as we go throughout the internet, they can then retarget us with ads to say, hey, come back to company XYZ and buy from me. And someone out there now knows that I like company XYZ. Now, company XYZ may sell a ton of things. They may sell everything from, like, shipping containers to bubble bath. Or company XYZ may only sell flower pots.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm buying flower pots, now you know that I am into gardening. You can make assumptions about that type of thing. So with that said, if we take that into the social media space and we have unfettered, so unlimited access to my social media, and I broadcast that to everyone on the internet, I can go on there and I bet you within about 30 seconds, I can find your birth date. I can find the types of things you like, the places that you frequent, places that you recommend on Google, all of your reviews, all of those type of things. And I can start to build a profile about you. Then I can go to you and I can say, oh, this person goes to the Jets games they have season tickets, whatever. I can find out where you sit in the Jets game. I can then sit behind you at the Jets game and get a seat there. You'll pull out your phone and you'll give me all your passwords because I can shoulder surf you. It's things like that that you can work through. And often when it comes to social engineering, it's not so much that we're targeting you, it's who you know. So maybe I'm using you as a stepping stone to then get into a further target. It really depends on, like, as we dive into the complexity of the criminal organizations that do professional social engineering, they're really good. They make a lot of money at it, and they are infiltrating all sorts of different places just by talking.
So, is it fair to say in closing that Learn Online Security podcast is really about empowering people with knowledge and learning kind of real life facts that are going to help them maybe not necessarily change their behavior, but maybe they're going to think twice about the things that they're doing online so that they can create sort of a safety for themselves, their family, their friends, their businesses.
Absolutely. Our biggest goal is to give you the tools and the armor, not so that you remember all of this knowledge or necessarily take it in, but to give you more red flags. So, like, as you're going about your day-to-day business and something happens, and you're just like, wait a minute, that strikes me as being odd, or that's off. There's something. I need to look into this further. I need to slow down, and that's the big thing that we teach. We move too fast, but
But
that's whole other episode.
that's great advice, though, I think, to start.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in learning more, become a member at LearnOnlineSecurity.com.
One of the things we're doing unique with our podcast is that we have a subscriber-only portion. This conversation is going to continue for another little bit. We're going to dive into some additional topics, and we hope to find you there.